Hello and welcome to Knowledge by Nature. In today's video, I'm going to give a little update for our mid-year. And as you can see, we're in a slightly different space, but let's hop over here to this desk and let's talk about how things are going. All right, so let's jump in here and kind of look at some things, maybe what I had planned versus what is really going on here. And I will say, and excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cold going on here. This has been a crazy year. Not really crazy, it's just getting the whole routine and flow and staying consistent has probably been our most difficult year to date. One, we moved, as you may have known, and so there are just more things to do here. So that is adding on to our day. And then there's just been a lot of things. If we jump in here to my month of October, you can see that I think I'm only going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, maybe 12 days in October. And that's not ideal, but it's not awful. So, but you can see we had a big sick day going on. We had some vacation time. And honestly, November is going to be a little discombobulated as well. And we also start getting into that whole school, holiday school, all that kind of stuff. So really with the sicknesses and stuff, I mean, she was just down for the count for over a week. And so we're really just didn't have much going on as far as that we were counting for school. Now, I did a ton of reading to her during that time, but nothing that I was going to count for school, things like that. But yes, so that is one thing about this year is that there's just distractions, there's sicknesses, there's trips. There are lots of things going on this year. So it is not really looking at all what I thought I had planned. I thought the whole front of the year I would really front load some hours and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's going to happen. But anyways, we're up here. I showed you. I kind of ended up moving us up into our upstairs attic-y space sort of, and we did this yesterday, and if it ends up working out really well, I'm going to end up moving my curriculum and stuff up here. You can see I do have some picture books over there, but she kind of sits at this desk that I am right here. I actually did some teaching over there on the board, and then we also kind of sat together. I have this little hide-a-bed behind us that's nice to sit. One is really warm up here in the summer. Excuse me. Yeah, it is really warm up here in the summer, which is why we're not up here. But it's also really nice and toasty in the winter, which is nice. And so that is why I'm thinking, hey, let's move up here. One, it gives us a change of space. Two, we're doing a lot of remodeling and demoing downstairs. And that kind of keeps nothing's ever in the right place. It just makes it a little bit more difficult. There's more distractions. And so I kind of am liking the idea of being up here. But okay. Enough of that. Let's talk about things that I want to do to kind of get us back on track for the new year. Because like I said, we have a trip in November that is coming up in just a matter of weeks, 3 weeks, I think. And then it's Thanksgiving. Well, that is the trip during Thanksgiving. Then when we get back, we're going to be looking at Christmas. And then we're going to be into the new year. So how can I kind of get us on a good trajectory so that at the beginning of the year, we're maybe starting to do some of the things that I thought I would be doing around October. Now, that was one thing, is that a lot of the stuff I didn't plan on starting right away. So if I go into my little mom binder here, and I just look at kind of my term one, I was looking at September to October. So really a lot of it, I wasn't necessarily planning on hitting. August for sure, no. There were many things I was not planning to hit in August. September, I was thinking some of those would start coming into play, like history, science, those sort of things, and they have. And then in October, I thought that we would start with our Latin, all of those sorts of things. Guess what? It did it. So yes, October didn't really give me that whole kickoff that I was thinking was going to be. And honestly, in hindsight, really, why would I want to kick it off in October when I know November and December is coming? Anything that we would have built in October would have been blown to smithereens in November and December because of the holidays. So maybe it was doomed from the start. I don't know. But we have not, one thing we have not touched is Latin. So if I go to my little weekly schedule that I dreamed so hard about over the summer, this is pretty much all different. A lot has changed. A lot has changed for sure. So one of the things is pretty quickly into the year, I want to say like September, I started front loading our morning. We would have a slow morning and kind of do some like morning times, read alouds, all of that kind of stuff. I noticed that it was causing our day to drag on for a really, really long time. And then by the afternoon, we were tired. We didn't want to do the big chores. And so I have front loaded our mornings. And so most of the time, we are going to play some math games and then we are going to jump right into math. And then we just get it done. And that is working really, really well. Now, just really quickly, since I'm talking about math, let's talk about math real fast. All right, if you've been with me for very long at all, you know that I'm a dimensions user. We love dimensions. We have been with dimensions for quite some time. And for quite some time, we really haven't done the workbook very much. The workbook has been utilized for if we need extra practice and it's just not clicking right away. And so normally we would do the lesson together and her work would be the work in the textbook because there is just so much to do. There's plenty of questions in the textbook and there's a plethora in the workbook. So there's a lot that you can do without ever really touching the workbook if you don't need it. Well, something I am toying with this time, and you'll probably hear that a lot. I've got a lot of ideas that I'm kind of thinking about doing. But with dimensions, I think what we're going to start doing is we're going to do the lesson together, and let's just bounce to one real quick. Let's look at lesson 8 here, because that was a practice. So I'm thinking we will come in here, we'll do our whole think and learn section together. That's kind of think and learn. And then we will come over here to the do, and I will do a few questions up on the board, okay? So kind of up on the board, she can see the questions, she can see me working them out, she can kind of follow along, all that kind of stuff. Okay? Maybe have her do 1 or 2 of these from the textbook. All right? Then we're going to stop math for the time being, for that moment. We're going to do a couple just so that I know that she kind of has an idea of what we're doing. The lesson has been taught. And then later in the afternoon, at any time at her leisure, it has to be done before any electronics. I am going to assign some homework that she will go do independently with this workbook. So it will essentially be after school is completely done and sometime whenever she wants to do it. Now, if we get done early and she wants to knock this out at like 1 o'clock, I don't care. But that's what I'm thinking of doing for a little bit, just to ensure that she's learning the process of kind of working things out for herself, just kind of go to her room, do some of this work, and then it has to be done for her to turn in to me the next morning. That is something I'm toying with. I don't know for sure how that will work, but that is what I think I'm going to try to do. Is we're going to kind of do it that way. Again, we're going to have our whole lesson. She's going to do a few where I'm kind of sitting in the area. If she needs any help, we can kind of look back at the board and figure out how it was. And then she has this that she goes and she does independently after a little bit of brain break of this. So I don't know, just something I'm thinking about doing. We're not really even having any hiccups. You may be wondering why, just kind of building that independency of learning and teaching yourself and just, I don't know, that's what I'm going to try to do. So we're going to see. I'll let you know how that goes if you're at all interested, but that is math. And one thing is we have been really consistent with math. Even though it feels like it's kind of crazy and I don't have as many days and all that kind of stuff, there are many days that we did math and I didn't count a day. That might have been all we did. And so that is something that, one, we're taking a little bit longer on each lesson that we would have in the past. And so that is nice. It's not making me feel behind by doing that because we've been so consistent with that. We've even snuck in a few weekends of doing some school just because of the chaotic schedule. All right, let's jump back to these. All right, we'll come back to this. So that's where I was saying that we kind of front load the morning of doing our math, and then we move on to like language arts and things like that. Writing, we've been looping that a lot. And you can see right here, even I had it where we were going to be writing, and she's been doing a lot of journal entries, kind of like free writing, and I'm letting that happen. I'm letting that process just occur naturally to kind of build that. Writing can be really fun. And so it doesn't have to be super serious right now, and I'm okay with that. We'll kick in a little bit harder after the holidays, but right now we've just been doing a lot of like free writing, funner writing, and writing for our history and our science, things like that. So we haven't been hitting super hard like the writing revolution or our sentence construction. We have been doing our sentence construction some, like these little sheets right here, because I think it's a really great way of figuring out how to create a good sentence. So we have been doing that quite often. Again, we haven't touched math. We have not touched Shakespeare or really done much with poetry, things like that. We have been pretty consistent with keeping a movement break, and I think that has been extremely, extremely helpful to go do a movement, where it be we go outside. I was setting up some like little fun tracks and stuff, like little obstacle courses outside. Those were super fun. It's just a good way. We do some math, we go do that, we come back and we do some more stuff. And so that has been really good. As the winter comes, I'll have to get a little bit more creative, but a lot of this has changed. Now, when we look at our history and our science loop, this is something else I'm toying with, and I think I'm going to try it for like for November. I think I'm going to see how it goes, because I've noticed whether it's history or science, I want to kind of do it day after day after day, but I don't have enough time to do history and science properly on the same day. And I'm not loving doing history, science, or history, science. I'm not loving that. So what I am thinking about doing is I'm going to do history for a week, and then we can just dive into whatever we're talking about in history for 1 week. And know that I have 1 week to do that part of history. Then same thing with science. I just want to focus on science for 1 week and do all I can in that 1 week with science. And then the next week rotate over. Now, I do see that there could be some hiccups with that, because there are going to be certain weeks that are not conducive to that. It's going to be a busy week and we really maybe didn't get to kick in too much. Well, I'm going to keep that in mind, and it may be that maybe we do science for 2 weeks in a row. Like if it's a weird week where we really only hit science once or twice, then throw that in with 2. But I'm going to see how that goes. I think we're going to enjoy that better. I think I'm going to enjoy that better, and we can just kind of dive in, because I don't know. I just haven't really loved doing that this year. Geography, we do our 50 states. We do 1 state a week, and we hit that 2 times a week. That's been working really, really good. I have no qualms with that. A lot of times that will be independent. She can go and read it, or read it out loud to or read it out loud to me, and that's another good way for her to kind of get in some practice of reading aloud to me. Cursive and typing have been going rather well. We probably do more cursive than we do typing, honestly, but I do want to kind of get back into that pattern of pulling typing in some more, but been doing really, really good. We've been doing good with our instruments. We did lots of reading while she was, sick, for sure. We read The Wild Robot in a few days, and then we read The Cabin Face West that week as well. So we did actually get some good reading done in October. And then she is, of course, doing her art, doing lots of art independently as well. And then handicrafts, unfortunately, that is something that hasn't really got added in yet. I want to teach her to crochet, things like that, and we haven't really done that. This I have been kind of a morning when we first started. This was during the morning. We would kind of start slow, but then, like I said, we have rotated that into kind of hitting it hard, and this has become more of our afternoon or lunchtime sort of thing where we would go over different things. And a lot of this geographical form thing I have pulled in during geography, and we have talked a lot about that. So I am referencing these to make sure that I do kind of cover these like I intended to do. All right, now let's find. All right, I'm going to come to this month reflection. Okay, let's get this out of the way really quickly. And then I'm going to write October up here really fast. That made that too big. So there are a few things really for November that I'm going to be focusing on, but I'm going to use the month reflection of October to kind of do that. I'm sure there's like some space back here in the back of this that I could write it, but this kind of lets me just know where my headspace was at this point too. So I have done something with my pen. One moment. So one of the things that I find extremely helpful is to write the things down that I want to brainstorm and I want to try for the month. And so then I can also look back on this at different times and be like, oh, well, I did try that and that didn't really go really good. Although it never hurts to try again, okay? If something doesn't work once, don't just say it won't ever work, because our seasons change. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write down the whole loop of history and science weekly. Then my math. So for our math, we're going to learn together, do a few questions together, have her complete 2 or 3, and then we're going to assign the workbook as homework. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and write that. Now, a few things I want to work on or focus on here. Is a few kind of like different things is table manners. That is just a few things I kind of want to go over, like, keeping our mouth closed when we eat, how to, using our napkin properly, how we might use our utensils, set our utensils down when we're done, sort of things like that. I just want to focus on this a little bit harder. As we're getting older, I think it's a little bit more important to like be a little bit better at some of those things. So I do want to focus on that. Let's see. And I think as November and December come around, handicrafts will be a good thing to kind of start really getting into that. So I want to focus on those sort of things. Now, I know I was thinking of more, and honestly, it has just kind of escaped my brain at this point, but I will just continue to add to this things that I want to kind of focus on and think about for the upcoming month. Now, it's been good. It really has. I don't really have any major qualms with any of our curriculums. They're working really well. We've made some changes, I think, to probably some of the stuff that we were using, but I don't really think we've even made any changes to any of the stuff that we've been using. I don't think I've pulled in anything new from like our 5th grade curriculum reveal. We're enjoying some of the more workbooky type sciences and things like that. And she's been doing some of that independently, and it's just been working really, really nicely. So even though it has felt chaotic, it honestly has went rather well. Like, I can't complain about any of the choices that I've made. They're going well. She's had really a pretty decent attitude about school as a whole. Instruments are going good. All of that kind of stuff. So I really don't have anything to speak negatively of, except the fact that I just wish we could have been slightly more consistent, but there are just things that you cannot control, sicknesses, things like that. And so that is kind of our little look at the way things are going. I'm kind of excited about being in this new little space here, and I think we're just going to enjoy it a lot up here. And I also think it'll kind of give us a division between, okay, it's school time, let's get focused, let's do our stuff, and then we got stuff downstairs, and that's a fun time, all that kind of stuff. Not that school isn't fun, but there are just a lot of distractions sometimes. And like I said, it's not that she has been a whole lot of distracted, but it just helps sometimes to have a break of the locations and things like that. So I feel like I may start rambling at this point. I'm sorry. So let me know if you have any questions or comments. That is kind of where we're standing right now. So we will start moving into our holiday school pretty soon, where we will still continue some cores, but we'll start sprinkling in a lot of that fun, different little studies and stuff like that. And we have enjoyed some of our book studies. We did a Ferdinand book study where we did a whole lap booking thing where we learned about so many subjects, and we absolutely loved that. So I will be adding in more of those for sure. But that is where we stand as we're rolling into holiday school. If you have any questions, comments, again, drop them down below. Let me know, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.